Hey guys, what we will be talking today is how CO2 helps agriculture in the face of climate change, especially the farmers. Humans are increasing the amount of carbon dioxide in the air through CO2 emissions. This is changing the climate, making life harder for many plants in areas that suffer from drought. Many human actions, such as burning fossil fuels, release carbon dioxide into our atmosphere. The trapped heat warms up our planet and changes the global climate and weather pattern. Researchers use different models to calculate possible effects of climate change and atmospheric CO2 concentrations on crop yield and plant water use for many places. The first calculation was the researcher calculated crop yield and evapotranspiration in the future under a changing climate, but with current CO2 levels. The second calculation states that the researcher calculated crop yield and evapotranspiration with changing climate and increased CO2 concentrations. Finally, they estimated how much crop yield is produced per unit of water that was used during the entire growing season, which is a quantity called crop water productivity. The first result states that when the researchers changed the climate parameters in their models but kept carbon dioxide concentration to the base level, they saw the yields of all their 4 crops decrease greatly all over the world. This shows the effect of a changing climate alone. The second one states that when the researcher also increased the CO2 concentration in the models, some crops grew better and used less water at the same time. This means their crop water productivity increased. The difference between the two outcomes of their simulations suggests that the positive effect of extra CO2 on crop yield balances some of the negative effects of climate change on these crops. On one hand, more CO2 in the air changes the climate and makes life harder for a lot of plants. But on the other hand, the results suggest that there is at least one positive side effect for production of certain foods. CO2 acts like a fertilizer for some crops, making them grow better and most importantly, with less water. In conclusion, knowing how and where climate change and increasing atmospheric concentration of CO2 affects crops is important for farmers and planners preparing for a changing climate. This gives us hope that farmers will be able to adapt their practices to grow crops in a changing climate and continue to provide food.